Get ready for another episode of the Voiceover Gurus Podcast. Real talk about the voiceover industry.
Welcome back to the Voiceover Gurus Podcast. I'm Linda Bruno. We have an interesting situation today because I was lucky enough to be on another podcast. Another VO podcast is the official title, yes. And it was cool because it wasn't just being with one other person. I actually had 4 gentlemen that were also in the chat room. And I decided that it would be fun to have you guys on the show, and I really appreciate it. So we're going to go around the room here, the little virtual room, and I want you to state your name and your location. I'm looking here, Brady Bunchbox. Troy, why don't you start?
Hey, I'm Troy Holden. I'm near Nashville, Tennessee, and I've been doing this about 3.5 years.
Excellent. Jacob Sanders.
Yeah, hey, no, I am Jacob Sanders. If you see me out in the VO world, it is Jake. But I mean, when I introduce myself, it's Jacob. But
Same guy.
I've been in voiceover for about I guess I'm starting my 5th year right now, and then I'm in Weatherford, Texas.
Texas, love it. All right, Alden Schoeneberg.
Alden Schoeneberg, yes, and I go by Alden.
Schoeneberg.
If I'm out in the VO world.
I'm not Schoeneberg?
On our podcast, we call him Alden, but that's okay.
I get everything.
Oh, really?
We do not. Troy does, but that's his accent.
Top professionals know it's pronounced Alden. Just
Alden.
so that
I got lucky there.
yeah, it's great. It's great. I started doing voiceover in the summer of 2019, so just around 4.5 years.
Okay, yeah, so you've been in it quite a bit. Excellent. And last but not least, Charles Coates.
Hi, my name is Charles Coates, a.k.a. Charles the Voice. I am in Dallas, Texas, only about 20 minutes away from Jacob. And
You are in Fort Worth, Texas.
What did I say, Dallas?
Yeah.
I'm sorry.
You said
I
Dallas.
used to live in Dallas. My bad. Sorry for the Fort Worth people. I do claim you. Sorry for the Dallas people.
Hi, I'm Charles, and I have long COVID.
Yeah. You need a sign on the inside of
Hi,
your
my
I'm
name's
face.
actually
Charles
based
Coates.
out of
Your
Mars.
name and where you're from.
My name is Charles Coates, and I have short-term memory loss. All right. And I've been doing voiceover for about 3.5 years also. I am a COVID story. So, yep, corporate
story.
world from corporate world to voiceover because of COVID. Yep.
Awesome. Well, not awesome, but awesome in a lot of ways. Yeah. Okay.
Well, thank
All
you,
right,
Linda.
good. So I got the years. Troy, did you tell us how long you've been doing
About
this?
3.5, about the same as Charles. We kind of started up together and became friends pretty quick early on. So
Yep.
Okay, and then Alden is a little longer than that because you said 4.
Yeah, Jake's
and
not
remind me
long.
again, Jacob, what was yours?
Well, no, because Alden, if you started in the back half of 2019, you're in your 5th year. Because if you think about it, like all of 2020, all of 21, 22,
I'd say 4.5.
So, well, okay, so that's what I mean, like I literally, like I was auditioning before COVID happened, and I booked my first job literally 6 days before the U.S. went on lockdown.
Oh, really? Okay.
Wow.
Yeah.
So I'm not a COVID story, but like COVID definitely helped my first year be fairly successful for, just getting into the gig.
Yeah, that's great.
Yeah. Great. Okay. So we know now how long you've all been at it. So is anybody full-time without another job?
Yeah, I think
all of us.
All of us.
All of us.
You all
Yeah.
are. All right. Very nice. Excellent. Okay. So let's start with Troy. So far, what has surprised you about this business?
Ooh, that's a good question. I think probably the amount of non-VO work you have to do. A ton of it. I mean, you better be a marketing person. You better be a social media person, a website person. You better know how to keep your accounting, your bookkeeping, and your customer service better be second to none.
Very, very good. Very good. Jacob?
I just kind of want to echo that. I mean, like the fact that it is a business. It's not just talking into a mic like a lot of people think. I'm trying to think if there's anything separate than that. If you can't.
Yeah, if anybody has anything else that they think is different that has shocked them, let me know.
Yeah,
you know?
it's really just that it's not about having a great voice. That was always surprising, because I mean, growing up and stuff like that, I'd always mess around with my voice, and I can do things with my voice that aren't, how I'm talking to you now. But a lot of times, a lot of things I audition for are how I'm talking to you now, just conversational,
Yeah.
So kind of realizing that was like, oh, okay, that is a little different. But other than that, yeah, pretty much what Troy said. It is a business.
Cool.
I think for me, there's a couple things. One is kind of stems off of Jacob, what he said. Being yourself is the hardest thing to overcome in this, I found. Like, just, when they're like, oh, just be yourself, that you need to put yourself into it. They want your voice. And it's so hard there's like this mind shift. There's like this ridge you got to go over to understand, be like, okay, that's what they want when they mean me. It's just me, but it's this brain block that keeps you from being yourself. And that was a big thing for me. And also when I started, not having coaching, thinking I was good enough without having any coaching, because everybody said I got a great voice, and I know myself, and I could talk to anybody and anywhere in an elevator and wherever. But not having that coaching early on, like, I feel like I've missed out. I could be even further ahead than I am now if I had gotten the right coaching from the very beginning, I think.
Interesting.
I do agree with that. I'm going to give a different answer, though. One thing that surprised me was the landscape of voiceover talent and how friendly and well-received it is in the community. I did not see that coming. I thought this was going to be me in my booth and me cracking out all the work, and it is
anybody.
A terrific community. Yeah, and I was happy not to know anybody for a year and a half, and
Right.
and then very happy when I found some people and started to make community.
Yeah.
It's nice to get that support and also to feel like you're not alone in this journey. But I think because this business is so hard, everybody kind of bonds because we're all in the trenches. We're all, trying to fight the war to get, the big win. That's
I have
awesome.
one more surprise, something that surprised me.
Oh, do tell.
It is when I first started, I needed this validity in myself that, hey, if I don't show up, like, if people don't think of me as somebody, then I'm nobody in this business. And like, you would see superstars in the, quote unquote superstars in our voiceover industry. And then you finally meet them, and it's like, wow, they've got, they put their pants on one leg at a time, just like I do. And they have, they got pipes busted in their house, and they're trying to figure out stuff. And it's just like, whoa. And it just humanizes the whole industry for me, because it's like, okay, everybody's just people, and they all have lives, and they're all struggling in this thing to make it.
There's a part of voiceover that now these days, because everybody's going to conferences and they have a lot of, social media presence, that there is still, a large group of people that are making a lot of money and you don't even know who they are. Because they have their regular clients, or they're a voice of something, and they're just not into the spotlight. They're not into social media. They're not into sharing. So it's not just what we see.
Right.
There are so many other people that are also working and doing quite well, that aren't as, present in some of the communities. But that's kind of cool too, because you think about it, you're like, oh, wow, I don't need to be chatting with a million people. If I just get my head down and really start to make some good connections and impress the right producers, I can make a sweet little career for myself. And, so just an interesting aspect. Okay, so what are you most proud of so far, since you've all been doing this for a few years, booking wise? What's your little pride so far, the best client that you can be like, oh my God, I can't believe I booked that?
Oh man. I think at least recently for me, I booked a radio commercial for Del Taco. And they're in 17 different states, and so and it's one of those ones where it's like I'm playing one of two guys, and I'm interacting with a voice that obviously when we recorded it he wasn't there, but when I got to hear the whole thing, it sounds like we're hanging out, or whatever, and
that's cool.
Yeah, and so I mean, it wasn't anything like fantastic as far as it wasn't uplifting, inspiring. I just got to play. In fact, the lady I was working with at the production house, she was just like, we'd be happy to have you back as a dude again some other time, if it came up. So
Nice.
it's fun to play a dude, There's that. There's that one, and then my first year of voiceover, I booked. It was a multi-regional, I guess, so a national spot. It was in 4 different states, but I guess they called it a national spot for a bank in New Jersey, New York, Alabama, and Florida called Valley Bank, and it was just thanking everybody for sticking with them during COVID and whatnot. And so I got to do that. That was my first little work, big paycheck job. So there's that.
Oh, love it.
like
So
those.
it was fun. Yeah, for
Love
sure.
it.
So
Yeah.
I had a couple things that were odd. The smallest word, the smallest amount of words for the most amount of money was for Yellowwood in Alabama. They do treated lumber, and it played everywhere. It was radio, but the one that got me the most visibility was the ESPN spot. But it was quick, and it was right after the Super Bowl. They played it, like at the post game of the Super Bowl on ESPN, and I'm doing the big announcer voice. Not even
That's
doing
cool.
the conversational. And I had more people texting me or messaging me on Facebook, like, was that you on ESPN? Yeah, that really was me. And that was really neat. But the most surprising thing I booked was a Pfizer disclaimer. I just thought, I'll never book anything like that with a Southern accent.
not with that attitude.
Yeah. But yeah, that was really cool. And not the best paying job. It was a SAG-AFTRA job. It was a regional radio, not the best paying, of course, but it was nice to throw that logo on the website. So
Seriously. I know that, you talk about how you were doing the announcer voice. I mean, the first national that I booked, I was a telephone operator. So it's like it doesn't even matter what the role is. At least you're in it and you're going to get paid for it.
That's the
you
goal.
know?
That's right.
Right.
I want to be in it and
Yeah.
paid for it.
Awesome. Who else?
I've got a couple brands that I'm pretty proud to have gotten, and they're really from direct clients that I've gone out and found. I was booked last year to do a couple Bosch e-learning for some of the new tools that they were coming out with. That was a lot of fun to do, and I love having their logo and being associated with that brand. And then just recently in December, I did a short media, like a social media thing for John Deere, and that was cool.
Oh, cool.
Yeah, that's awesome.
yeah, just took
Very,
my
very
brand
nice.
right away.
Yeah, that's right.
We thought Troy had it in the
Salt-of-The-Earth
bag.
beats blue jeans every day.
Awesome. Charles, do you want to share?
I would say the proudest one for me is a big one is Valvoline, which their commercial spot's going to come out next month. So I can't even share the video, but they let me have it so I can share it in February when it comes
great.
out.
Nice.
It's great. You nailed
Yeah.
it.
He can't
it's a good
share it,
spot.
Alden, so you haven't
yeah,
seen
yeah,
it.
I'm sure you did great, Charles.
I did the
Supportive
Apple
friendship.
TV Plus trailer for the Velveteen Rabbit
Yeah, that one
that
was
played.
Cool.
Oh,
Yeah, so
wow.
that was pretty awesome.
But almost wouldn't
That's
know it was
great.
him.
Yeah,
You-
because it's my British
Really?
accent.
And
Yeah,
he did an
he-
audition for it.
Yeah, they found me
Can you
direct.
believe
so-
this? He was acting.
Yeah, he was acting as a voice actor.
Did they come to your website?
Yeah.
That's how they got me.
That's
from.
awesome.
And then
Yeah.
I didn't even tell the guys this.
Of course. Here it comes.
Yeah, Friday I booked a spot for Bosch and Lom for the Olympics.
Oh,
Olympic
yeah, no, you
commercial.
told me.
Did I tell you that? Oh, okay.
Yeah, well,
Yeah.
you and I were in the car a long time
Oh
ago.
yeah, that's right. Yeah, that's right. That's right.
Let's not go
Congratulations.
there,
Congratulations. That's awesome. Now, have any of you had one where you I like to ask newer talent this. Has there been a point so far where you go, oh, wow, I've made it? Or, oh, wow, I can do this for a living. I can do this. That confidence moment, that aha moment.
I'm one of those. I feel like I can compete, and I hear other people sometimes, and I think I know I can do that. I know I can, but I do not feel like I'm there. I think that somewhere maybe around year 5, maybe there's a switch that goes off around year 5 that says, okay, you can do this. You need to venture into this. You have made it, and I think that's true with any business. They say 3 to 5 years is the make or break point for almost any small business, and we're a small business, and we have to get out there and compete. And I think that's where I'm at. I'm like, I have the confidence to go for things, but I don't have the confidence that I can get certain things. So
Yeah,
it's
Okay.
still a little tough.
Sure. Yeah.
I was going to say, I don't think I necessarily have made it yet, and that's just based on the fact, I've yet to hear myself out in the wild, and I've yet to have anybody, say, hey, I've had people ask if I did this such and such spot but I didn't do it. It wasn't me, like our friend Jenna says that she's like, I'm pretty sure you have a voiceover doppelganger out there. And she sent me a spot.
I hate hearing that.
I know that's what I said. I said, was like, well, that doesn't
like
bode
that
well for my
person's
career.
working except for me. I know.
And I mean,
I
and
know.
here's the thing, is like, I've 2020 was a great year for me. I was, especially because I did have a job at the time, like a full-time job, and so booking all that stuff was like really cool. But I was only on one platform, and I wasn't doing direct marketing. I didn't even think. I kicked myself because I'm like, man, if I would have just done direct marketing when I had all this downtime at my other job doing COVID, like where would I be right now? Like, would I be like would I feel like I made it or whatever? But booking that Del Taco spot or that Valley Bank spot, and I've done other stuff in between in the same realm, but those things definitely give me confidence. But I don't necessarily consider myself that I've made it yet. But if you ask my friends who know me and that I do voiceover, they're like, "Oh yeah, you must have made it." You know what I mean? So it's all perspective,
Right.
But from my perspective, I don't feel that way. From others, they might feel different. From newer voice talent listening to this and going like, "Well, I haven't done that," they might think, "Well, yeah, you have made it. Be happy." I mean, like I'm happy, I'm thankful, but I don't know if I've made it in my opinion.
And I don't think that you should consider that period of time during COVID, that you had the opportunity to reach out, because the world was crazy.
Right.
And so many companies, especially advertising agencies, marketing, people were losing their jobs, so
Maybe that's a good point.
don't beat yourself up. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
There were opportunities kind of shifted there.
Right.
And things, I'm a big believer that things happen for a reason. So
I think
totally
two
cool.
things for me to know that I've made it, which I have not yet.
Which is crazy. He's about to, though. Just watch.
He's on the brink.
Yeah.
Sure.
Is tolls are very expensive in Texas. So my wife and I have a joke. They're like, "So when do we know that we've made it?" And it's like, when we just drive right onto the toll without looking at the price of the toll, because it's a fluctuating toll, and sometimes it could be like $20 a segment. And
In
so
that case,
it's
I
like,
have made it. I never look. I see it on my credit card bill.
That's
Yeah,
called
I'm like-
avoidance, Jake. It's called avoidance.
and I'm like, we look and we're like, yeah, nope, not today. So when we could just drive on the tolls everywhere we want to, we know we've made it. And when we can comfortably go for like a 2-week vacation or at least a week and a half vacation twice a year, then we know, like, okay, without taking a travel rig, without doing all, taking all the stuff to, if there's somebody that needs me, that kind of thing. Because somebody told me a couple weeks ago, they were like, the base word of vacation is vacate, to vacate. And if you're going on a vacation, like, when can you've been on vacations, but some really they just stick in your mind. And I guarantee there probably wasn't maybe much work or any work involved. You just enjoyed, you vacated, your mind vacated out of the voiceover, your body vacated out of your booth and studio, and you just enjoyed your vacation with your family and friends and the things around you. And that's where I want to be. And then I'll know I've made it, when I could do that.
Interesting. Well, bad news. So even me doing it for this many years, when I go away, I am still paranoid.
Sure.
That I'm losing something, because, you get it ingrained in you that you know what? I don't know when my next paycheck is coming. I don't have a paycheck. Holy shit. I got to, pay for. So you wind up like wanting to relax. At least this has been my experience. But it's always like in the back of your mind. And I'm like, do I need to? The only time I think I really fully unplugged was getting married, last year. Because I said, screw it. I'm going to take this time and I'm getting married,
Right.
Get over it.
Very well
But
within your
otherwise,
rights to do that.
Yeah.
yeah, but otherwise, I'm pretty paranoid.
I hear you.
And that's what I think about this business. The whole made it thing, I don't think I've ever thought, oh, yeah, I made it. It keeps us so humble.
Right.
Because we go through those periods, so you enjoy those wins and really enjoy them.
Yeah.
But what about you, Alden? Do you have anything that said to you, oh my gosh?
Well,
and it's more of a question of, do you feel like you can do this for a living? That's the better question.
Yeah. I rephrasing it to say, I'm a voice actor. I think that moment when I had my first live directed session, that was a big deal. It was it was somebody I'd reached out to in my marketing, and within 3 or 4 months, short 3 or 4 months, they're wanting work, right? Because that's how much you have to invest or more. Anyway, it was for National Farmers Union, and the guy loved my voice for that project, and it was on the big assembly. It was their video that they were watching on the main screen and the whole collective, and then also did a 30-second radio ad for the same promotion. And, the director was great and made me feel like I was right on the money, like I was giving him exactly what I wanted. I'm like, I'm a voice actor. Yeah.
It's legit.
Yeah.
That's great. That's a totally legitimate thing, though. I mean, also, if you're getting paid, you're a voice actor.
Right.
I know.
Oh, yeah.
You know?
In that regard, I definitely feel like I can do this. It's just like, can I compete in those higher levels? Will I ever book one of those? Like, my goal is to book a national commercial, something that like I could hear while after I turn the TV on to go cook or something like that, and all of a sudden I'm stopped because like, oh, that's the spot. You know
That's
what I mean?
me.
Because there's so many things I audition for that I hear. Like, I'll be sitting there on the couch with my girlfriend and be like, I audition for that. I audition for that.
I know.
I audition for that. Yeah.
No, but then when you hear something once and you're like, okay, I remember that, and then you're like, really? That's
the direction.
Right.
Like, what?
And here's the thing: they probably didn't audition like that, and that's what you come to find out is that like their audition probably sounded nothing like that. But what it was is they get in the session, they get the director, they get the producers, they maybe even get someone with from the client on there who wants something, because ultimately that's what the client wants, right? And they all of a sudden it turns out being exactly what they tell you it's not going to be. It's not going to be announcery. It's not going to be this, and then you listen to it and it ends up being like that.
And then they
It's
end up using your
announcery.
wild take or something. It's like, really? Come on.
That's
man.
true. That can happen too.
I think the conversational announcer is the most popular read.
Yeah.
I really do, because it's very,
conversational
formulated,
announcer.
and they're saying their words so perfectly.
Yeah.
It's conversational kind of, but I still hear
It's
announcer.
still,
Yeah.
There has to be
Narrator.
some little bit of
a
sell.
narrator or something.
Yeah.
Little sale. Gotta
I
have a
will
sale.
say that it helps me to look at and appreciate the little things and the small victories along the way. And to do that, I have to look at myself through the eyes of my wife, who comes to me and says to me often, I'm so proud of you. You're doing a great job. You're so good. And I don't feel good because I know I'm not where I want to be with my business.
Right.
There's still things I want to achieve. I don't feel like even though I'm full-time, I feel like my full-time income isn't quite, enough yet.
Right.
But at the same time, I can look back and for a long span, I have made money doing voiceover every week.
Right.
Every week I've made something.
That's a big deal these days too.
Yeah.
It is. I mean, you look at the surveys that have come out, and I know there's a new one coming out, and you look at the percentage of people who make zero and the percentage who are making less than 20 grand. I mean, it's a big number out of the 1,500 people. It's a lot. So,
Do you have benchmarks? Like, do you guys have and say, this is what I made in January. This is what I made in February. I want to make $1,000 more in March. Do you guys monitor
100%.
your success that
I
way?
have not until this year, and a lot of that beforehand was because I always just knew when I was going to get ready for taxes, I could just go back and go and look at each platform and say, okay, I made this much here, this much there. But I want to do it this year, and I have so far. I've kept up with. I started filling out a revenue tracker, similar to the one Charles has, and then just kind of monitoring that, So I am interested to see how that looks for me by the end of this year. But before, I really didn't care, like month to month. I just wanted to book something. Like, my goal is to book at least one thing a week. That's my goal. Have something have at least one thing come in, and I count. Even if I hear about it the week before, I don't like. If someone's like, "Hey, I have a job that's coming up. Are you going to be available next week?" Yeah, I won't count it until it comes in. You know what I mean?
Sure.
So, luckily, so far this year, I've been fairly consistent with that. Like, something's come in every week, even if I did kind of know about it beforehand. I'm always happy to take anything I didn't see coming, but who isn't? But,
Right, sure.
But other than that, that's kind of how I looked at it beforehand. But yeah, I'm interested to see how my month to month goes this year. So, yeah.
Okay.
And year on year. Got to look at year on year.
Oh, well, that's definitely true.
Yeah.
But I feel like that's something I was doing for sure.
Yeah. But
And you go monthly? I know Troy, I think you do, right? Don't you measure your months?
I do. I look at the months, and I compare, last year to this year and whatever, and I set a goal to increase by 10 to 15 to 20%, depending on what it is. Last year, a lot of people said don't expect an increase. Expect to try to stay level, and if you stay level, you're okay. But I had a 20% increase, so I was really happy with that.
Nice.
And I take a mission statement first. I write a personal mission statement for what I want to do for myself personally. maybe I need to lose some weight, get more active, do this, take more vacations, whatever. Then I'll break that into my business goals. And then monthly, I've got to look at what I have to do to achieve my mission this month. I got to go, I got to hit the treadmill 3 times a week. I got to do this. I got to do that. And I don't always make it. I'm hard on myself when I do that stuff, but it helps me focus. And I like what Jake's saying, I just want to book something. I want to make sure I'm booking something. And my thing that I look at on my spreadsheet, I track everything by when I'm paid. I don't look at when I'm booked or anything. So when it comes in, I get paid. Let's say, that month I got paid, and I'm just throwing a number out there. I got paid $7,000. Okay, well, that's great. I got paid $7,000. And next month I got to do this much to stay on track, and I'll watch it that way. But what I'm looking for is I want to see that money go up and the number of entries come down. I want to be working better jobs, less time, more money. And that is the big goal in the mission statement, booking the better jobs. And that's definitely taken the 3.5 years to get to that, because you're doing the YouTube narrations. And I tell people all the time, they say, how many of those did you do? And I say, I can pull it up and count the files again, but it's over 4,000.
Oh my God, Troy!
Yeah, so over 4,000.
Holy crap!
But what I learned from that, is the editing, the learning to read ahead.
Yeah. You got your process down.
I really got a lot of processes
You're a machine.
down. But I gave all that crap up like 2 years ago when the timing was right. But that paid for me to learn how to do this the right way.
Sure.
And that's what I did it for. I did that stuff, quote unquote, unanimously. Nobody's going to go listen to that crap. They're not even going to find it.
Yeah.
Right.
Cutting your teeth on it.
Yeah, but it I got paid to practice, and it also funded me to be able to come to the Gurus workouts, to be able to get you guys to coach me, to do other coaching, to get a better setup, and it all paid off. Can you still do that now? I don't know. I think it's changed. I think it's hard to get that. I think AI is getting a ton of that work now.
That bottom stuff. I mean, I was listening to another pod today, and they said the same thing, and JMC said it before too. It's just like AI probably will scoop out that bottom feeder area. You know what I mean? And that's kind of, I don't know how to say that. I mean, I don't want to sound like, I'm not happy about taking jobs away from people, but at the same time, it's kind of like, well, good. You know what I mean? Like, it kind of takes people out of the market that, we're just oversaturation to an extent. You know what I mean? So I don't know. I'm interested to see how that all plays out. But all I know for myself is that I want to always be able to compete. So I want to keep getting better, and I want to do better. It's just having the means to invest in the right places and making the right investment choices to do so, to get better. So that's what's hard for me.
I think to touch on the AI thing, I think a positive thing is someone, I can't remember who said it, but they were like, think about it. Pepsi, let's say, right? They have a creative director, they have a director of marketing, they have, they have writers, they have all these people that they're paying lots of money, smart people, to make these great campaigns. I don't care how great the AI is, they're not going to use it. They're going to direct, they're going to get somebody on the phone, they're going to listen to auditions, they're going to say, this is the sound that we want, and they're going to get in, and they're going to want that opportunity to direct you, to change something, to tweak something. Well, now, kind of make it feel like this, or kind of do it like this. And there's nothing that can even come close. And even if it did, they're not going to pay $100 for an AI to work with this pretty much multi-million-dollar team. You know what I mean?
The millions and millions of dollars that go into these campaigns, no way would they take the chance on that. But I remember when I was working with HSN, this was the time of Fiverr being introduced. And so we didn't have the AI, but it was people on Fiverr. And I asked the producer, I said, would you use Fiverr? And he said, for a scratch track, sure. He goes, it's an easy thing for me to use. He goes, but I couldn't go to my boss and say, the voice of the network is someone I got on Fiverr. And he was like, that's my reputation. Right. I would never do something like that. And then I was like, okay. But it's just true. Too much goes into it to be, it just wouldn't happen. So I'm in total agreement with you on that, Charles.
So that's a good thing, right? That's hopeful.
Oh, totally.
It should be.
Those will stay. Now we just got to get to that point where we're booking all the,
Well, maybe not
big
booking
stuff.
all of it, but at least being able to compete. Because I mean, like, look, there's so
Oh no,
much
I'm
work
talking
out
about
there.
booking. We
I
need
know
to
you
book.
are talking about
We
booking,
need to
but-
book
Yeah.
that stuff.
But the thing is, like, you can't have the expectation that you're going to get to a point where you're just booking everything. You can book a lot of things, but there's just so much out there. Like, not any one person can book every gig out there, right? I mean, like, but you want to be able to compete.
There are trends
Yeah.
too. There are trends.
yeah.
There are vocal trends, and you may be hot for several years, and then suddenly it's like, we're going to move on into another trend. So you want to go for the long run. You want to have a career for 20, 30 years.
Right.
Yeah. And so, if you don't book as much one year from another year, that's normal.
Yeah.
That's normal. It doesn't always. I think it's fantastic to have those goals. I love how planned and organized you are, Troy. That's fantastic because I'm a big believer in that too. You need to visualize it. You need to decide what it is you want. I used to go so far as to say, I want to make X amount of dollars each month, and then I would break it down by hour as to how much I would need to make each hour to get to my goal. So I'd say today I need to make $1,000, and I'm not working Saturday and Sunday, so I want to make $20,000 this month. So I would set the intention. Whether it happened or not, it's a different story.
Right.
100%.
But putting it out there is huge.
Yep.
Making that decision.
I think a lot of this too in this business is having the right opportunities. And one person had told me, said it's if you tie it into baseball, you want to be in the on deck circle and get a chance to get in the batter's box, have your shot at that job or that script or that audition, and you have to somehow position yourself out of the dugout into the on deck circle into the batter's box. So you've got to take those steps, and I feel like all of us are kind of transitioning into the batter's box where we've been in the on deck circle. We got a little taste of some good stuff, but we all need that coastal agent, or we need we've got some regional agents, and maybe we're seeing a few of those things, but we're not seeing the big stuff, and I talked to somebody yesterday. They were so busy because they're working on so much Super Bowl stuff right now. And I'm like, cool, send me some of those auditions. I'd love to. But I couldn't do that. But I think that's it. We're trying to get in a position to where you can book that big thing, and it carries you for a little while until you get that next big thing. And all these little things we're doing, you may keep doing them in the background for week to week stuff, but you're hoping to start nailing a few of those bigger ones.
Right.
That's where I feel like we all are, all four of us. We're just so close. But you got to get that break, you got to get that right agent, you got to get that right everything.
We had so much to talk about that we wound up going long, so we have split this into 2 episodes. I love when that happens. Join us next week for part 2 of 4 perspectives from the VO trenches. I'm Linda Bruno, and this is the Voiceover Gurus Podcast.
Thanks for listening to the Voiceover Gurus Podcast. Real talk about the voiceover industry. Learn more about us and get coaching at voiceover.guru.